What's up everyone, my name's Anthony, and if you've ever wanted to build a real application on top of Microsoft Fabric, not just dashboards, then this video is for you. Today we're building an end-to-end Node.js application with a GraphQL layer and full writeback. We're gonna do some pretty cool things. Let's get into it. Before we start with the actual development, just to give you guys a little bit of background about myself, I'm a data engineer currently at a medical equipment manufacturer. I got brought in by a private equity firm to essentially stand up a business intelligence team. And as part of this process, we've been on our Fabric migration journey. And because of that, we've done a lot of cool things, built a lot of cool customized tools within the Fabric environment that we've been able to actually deploy to different work streams and departments across our enterprise. And I wanted to bring some of these cool ideas to light, as I think they could be beneficial to not just my company, but a lot of the people out there that are also starting their Fabric journey. So before we continue, please like, comment, subscribe. I need as much feedback as possible, and give me some additional ideas for some cool things that I can do another video on. So yeah, let's dive into it. Now, to preface, I'm going to do this completely from scratch. I've prepared very minimal here, so I'll kind of walk you guys through the complete end-to-end process. Even if you don't even have a SKU setup, we'll spend some time looking at that. So as you can see here, this is, let me just make sure I'm recording. Perfect. As you can see here, this is the Azure platform. So if this is new to you, the first thing that you will have to do, which I've already done, is create an Azure subscription, and then you'll also have to create a resource group here. We're using this Cloud Hack resource group, and then within that resource group will lie your Fabric capacity here. So once you have that set up, we'll navigate to the Fabric environment here, and as you can see, I do have two resources set up, and these will be the two resources that we are using for this tutorial. So the first is you're going to want to set up a Fabric warehouse. So in your workspace, and if you haven't set up a workspace, you can go to the workspace pane here, create the workspace, and then in that workspace you can click new item, and then you can create a warehouse, and then you'll also want to create a GraphQL API endpoint, which also you can find in here. You have your API for GraphQL. Once you've done that, we'll navigate to the warehouse here. In this warehouse, you can see I have some tables loaded in here. I just loaded in some random sample data, just for the sake of this tutorial, but obviously you can work with any type of data in here, as long as it is structured data. Obviously it is a warehouse, so you can't have any unstructured data in here. And then once you have these two things set up, the next thing is, this is the fun part, is getting over to your cursor environment here and setting up a blank repository within cursor. We will be using this using Node.js. We will be creating that GraphQL data access layer, and then we'll be able to implement Writeback because of the GraphQL capabilities and the idea of mutations, which we'll go over in a bit. So once you have the cursor repo set up, I'm going to teach you guys some sort of hacks to kind of ramp up and get your agents within cursor up to date on the context and sort of the type of data that we're working with, and then just in general how to increase the accuracy of these models as we work with specific data within our Fabric environment here. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to go to the sample GraphQL API endpoint, and if you've never used this, it's very simple. You just collect get data here. You could click on your warehouse, click connect, and then you can select any or all the data tables that are within this warehouse. So I've already done that. Once you're done with that, you're going to export the schema here, and you can go ahead and bring this into your cursor environment. I've renamed mine to sample application schema, and keep this in here, and you'll see why it's important. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the warehouse, the SQL query editor here, and we're going to put together a pretty simple query. All right, perfect. Now that we have that, we're going to copy this. We're going to go to cursor. We're going to throw this in a markdown file here, and we're going to call this warehouse schema master.md. We'll make this a markdown file, and we'll paste all of that in here. And then we're going to reference this when we ask cursor what to do, so that it knows a little bit about our data and the type of data that we're working with here. So Once we have these two things put together, I think we can start the fun part, which is now prompting cursor. So I'm essentially going to tell cursor, I'm going to prompt cursor to create me an application. It's going to be an analytics application that helps me track, it looks like we have some sort of trip data, so it'll help me track trip amounts, fare amounts, and then help me do some sort of analytics on this, as well as help me track maybe some potential centers for pickup and drop-off areas. Maybe we can do some sort of route analysis here, and then at the end we'll ask it to also create us an environment to so that a user can go in and add different information to a trip, or maybe go back and edit a previous trip and do some sort of cool thing like that. So here's what I'll prompt the cursor agent to do. And then really important, I'm gonna switch this to Composer 1. Composer 1 is super quick. It's very efficient. And then I think we're good to go here. We are going to press enter and let this thing work. And let's see what it builds us here. All right, so it looks like it built us an entire architecture and then end-to-end development plan. It looks like our front end is going to be called Pedal Pulse. You could see the Node.js implementation here with the GraphQL data access layer. It's tracked the queries and the mutations that we're going to be using, and then it's developed the entire repository structure for this project. Listed out the tech stack, all this good stuff. And I think we should just let this kind of work and do its thing. So I'm going to click build here. We reviewed the plan. We like the plan. Now we're going to go and build the plan. And let's see what it puts together for us here. All right, so it looks like it's finished almost everything. It looks like we just have to set up some environment variables in the environment file and then install all local dependencies and then get this thing up and running. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to keep all the changes. I'm going to approve all of them, and then let's see if it created our environment variable or our environment file. I don't see anything. All right, actually, you know what? We're gonna have the agent do everything. So first thing we're gonna do is have the agent proceed with the next steps. The next steps. So it's installed all of the dependencies, created the environment file, project structured, all that good stuff is verified. So now we're gonna go into the server environment file here, and it looks like we have some things that we need to provide here. I don't think we're gonna need these things for now. I think we just need this. So let's go back to our Fabric environment here. We'll go to the sample GraphQL API endpoint, and we'll copy this endpoint here. And then we're gonna paste this here. And I'll go through I'm gonna drop another video that shows how we can implement secrets essentially in Azure, store this in a key vault, and then keep this safe and encrypted. But for now, this will work. We'll save this, and then we will now get our server up and running. So I'm gonna go to this PowerShell here, and then I'm gonna navigate to the server, and then run npm run dev. Looks like we need to add some stuff for authentication. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I think I know what's going on. All right. Yep, so we're gonna go here. We need to set up a service principal. We're gonna go to app, we're gonna close this down. Go to app registrations. We have a Cloud Hack test right here that's expired. We're just gonna create a new one, and we're gonna call this sample application dev, and then we'll keep this all blank. and then we'll create this application here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to manage here, and we're going to go to API permissions. And then we are going to add permissions. We are going to look at Microsoft Graph here. We're going to create a new secret. We're going to call this secret sample app secret. Add the secret, and we're going to copy this value right here. And I'm going to blank this out for the sake of this. Copy my secret value. Add this information, and then I'm going to my environment file. So we are going to replace all of the authentication stuff with Microsoft credentials. So then I can paste my secret in here. I can go here and get the other information needed, which is the client ID. I'll paste this in. And then the tenant ID. We are struggling with GraphQL permissions. I'm going to go back to the API permissions here. And let's try elevating some of these. Oh, that's also why. Rookie mistake. Always got to grant admin access here. Let's try this. So let's add more. We're going to add more permissions to our GraphQL, to our service principal here. Haha, last little piece here, minor detail. We have to go into our Fabric workspace here, and we have to give our service principal access. So look for a sample, application dev. We're gonna make this, for now, let's just make it a member. See if there we go, boom. Now we're getting data data is successfully being parsed. We have successfully connected to the GraphQL endpoint. Now let's see what happens to our front end once this is done. Next, refresh this. There we go. It looks like these two are airing out. I'm actually going to see if we can change one of these. So what I'm going to do is, I don't really want the route map now. I want to display some of that writeback functionality. So I'm going to prompt it to get rid of the map. All right, it's basically just told it to get rid of this part here. We don't want this route map yet. Top routes is going to be a route log, and it's going to have sort of a tabular view here so that we can go in and edit existing routes and all that good stuff. So as you can see here, this table looks very similar to what's in our lakehouse here. I mean, my bad, our warehouse. Let's see if it's done. Perfect. All right, now let's actually try this thing and see if it works. The entire record, so I'll screenshot this. We'll edit this one to 5,000. 2013-0101 and then 4344. Alrighty, and we can see, what are we looking for? The distance in miles. Right here, trip duration. Distance miles is now 5,000 for this record. $92, yep, this is it. So yeah, there you go, guys. We've now developed an entire custom application called Pedal Pulse. It's connected directly to our Microsoft Fabric environment. We walk through how to create a service principal that basically has access to the API permissions. We gave it access to our workspace, and then we completely developed this entire repository using the Composer 1 model that essentially built the backend and front end for our customized application. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to teach you guys how to get this deployed to an actual web application in Azure. I can walk through how to actually customize the domain and all that good stuff, and get it into a production-ready environment while also implementing CI/CD. But for now, I just wanted to showcase the capabilities and how easy it is to get the customized application up, running, and Writeback implemented without any third-party services. Think about all the cool things that we can implement now going forward. We can implement security groups. We can implement essentially everything that we need to get this application up and running in a production-ready environment, and for business stakeholders to use. And the good thing is once this is up and running, you don't have to go through all of that setup, that GraphQL setup, and all the error handling and all that annoying stuff. So this is now set up, and our application is ready to go. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you in the next videos.